Remember when that song came out? I do. I remember when that song came out. Larry Gatlin's our guest, but he doesn't know that we're playing Broken Lady because something's wrong with our headsets. We're not as technologically advanced here as we might appear to be.
I don't care. It's going to make me. Oh, but it wouldn't really be me making it.
No, it wouldn't.
It would be the person who built the bridge. I mean, I only wrote the bridge, but see, it's a musical joke. Yeah, it would be the person who wrote the bridge that I was traveling over that night from Chicago to get to the airport. That would be really the person who is responsible.
You know what's funny, Larry? Of all the things that Barack Obama has said, as offensive as they are, that one seems to have struck a chord. I mean, you're a self-made man. You have been to the heights of success. And I'm sure there are some people, some friends, and some record folks, and some band members, and your brothers who were helpful along the way. But that really set people off, the audacity. It's one thing to take all our money, but to take the credit for the hard work that we've earned, I think this has set people off on a new level.
Well, he is suave and cool and debonair, right?
I don't know what all that means, but I don't like it.
Well, it means that he's the Fonz. I mean, we need John Wayne, and we've got the Fonz.
Well, he's jumped the shark. I can tell you that. I'm done with the guy.
It's unbelievable. But he could finesse and work his way around and as they say, walk something back.
Right.
I mean, but it just finally the preponderance of the evidence. First of all, telling the policemen that they were wrong. When they got
acted stupidly.
Gates. To tell me that if he had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. To automatically jump on whatever side without knowing any of the facts. But finally, you reach a tipping point where people, even who are on his side, they have to wince at that because they know that is patently false.
Your level of political sophistication is frightening.
Well, sometimes I act like a booger-eating moron. Does that help you? Booger-eating moron is a technical term, America.
That's from Seminole, Texas,
well,
right there.
You know what? Here's the thing, Mikey. I was an English major at our alma mater, the University of Houston. I was a political science minor, and I loved it from the time that I've been old enough to read a newspaper and to be interested in things like that. It has interested me because, Tip O'Neill's deal about all politics is local. Guess what? We had political issues in Odessa when I was a kid.
But if I'd asked you, Larry Gatlin's our guest, if I'd asked you in 1975, would you have been as plugged in? Winston Churchill famously said, if you're 21 and not a liberal, you have no heart, and 40 and not a conservative, you have no head.
No brain.
I mean, I kind of sense that you, like a lot of other people, have grown up. And as you grow up and you see what's going on in this country, you say, I can't be silent about it anymore. Even if it hurts my career, I care more about my country than my career.
Well, here's the deal. I voted for Jimmy Carter. That's back when I was still on cocaine and drinking vodka. When I sobered up, I went, I voted for who?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. He's a peanut farmer, for God's sake.
Right.
I was always interested. I had not been as active. Just think about something. We did not have the avenues to be as active. That we have with talk radio, with Fox News, with the other, with the internet. We didn't have the avenue. We have that now, but finally it has gotten. I try to bring a little humorous discourse to a very rancorous situation, but really, a friend of mine used to say, "Rest assured, sooner or later, God will bang on your hood." Hey, hold it!
Mm-hmm.
Stop! What are you doing? I'm banging on their hood. You know what, Mike? Michael, I will help someone who cannot help themselves. My wife, we paid $250. I'll tell you mine, $256,000 in income tax last year. We paid 10% tithe to our church, and the 10% tithe to our church, we paid 4 times more than that to other charities and good causes and gifts and things to people because we believe in doing that. I will help somebody who can't help themselves. Somebody who won't help themselves, they can starve to death. I feel sorry for their kids. I'll go try to help them through some church or some local program. But just to take I want to ask Nancy Pelosi, what comes after $1 trillion? What number is that? We used to think $1 million was about $1 billion. I tell my wife, I think the next number is just one by God smooth gadzillion. That, how much more do I owe? I want to ask Nancy Pelosi a question, and those people up there. I'd like to ask Barack Obama. My father never made more than $35,000 a year in his life, and I paid $256,000 in taxes last year. I want somebody in America to walk up and stand flat-footed in front of me and say, Larry Gatlin, you made me poorer because you got rich.
Mm-hmm.
Find one. Now, if they got poor, if you can call buying a $20 record or come see a Gatlin Brothers show and pay for a ticket, if that made you poorer, all right, I can buy that. I haven't made people poorer. No rich person has made people poorer. Capitalism, entrepreneurial free enterprise is the greatest welfare program, the greatest maker of wealth in the history of the world. And it was just those real booger-eating morons on the other side who decided to, in some way, to create a welfare state so people be dependent on them. It's ridiculous. I'll help somebody who can't work. I will not help somebody who won't. I have a short way of saying that. I'll bend over backward to help you. I ain't going to bend over forward.
I think we need a Larry Gatlin show.
Well,
I could just listen
to God's ear.
You know, it's amazing to me. In the last 2 weeks, I feel like I'm having this romp through. That was mine, but you can drink it anyway. You already had your 3 fingers of Coke.
Folks, I haven't had any sugar in the last almost a month, and I have drunk. That's the past. Yeah, I have drunk a half a Coca-Cola, and I'm going to tell you right now, I could thread a sewing machine with it running.
That's a Seminole, Texas phrase right there.
So you're about to say something.
I'm taking all your Coke away. You know, I've had a kind of a romp through my childhood heroes over the years, people that, you know, I listened to on the radio and who've kind of written my life, and I'm hearing the same level of just disgust coming out of these people, from Charlie Daniels to Hank Jr. to Ray Stevens and now Larry Gatlin, and I'm seeing these common threads that middle America feels like we're under attack, and finally has gotten comfortable with, I don't care if you're black or not, I'm fighting back.
You know, I don't give a rat's rear if he's purple. It's not about that. They're the ones who always play the race card. Somebody, you know, my friend Bob Beckel, God love him, I'm his favorite country singer. And off the camera, I love old Bob. On the camera, I scream at him. You know, first of all, if Bob were an inch taller, he'd be perfectly round. You know, if he didn't have a good job at
Bless his heart.
Sooner or later, somebody'd have to pay for his heart attack.
Yeah,
I think that's up to me to pay for his bad choices.
He is a train wreck. Larry, hold on right there. Larry Gatlin is our guest. I'm just going to let him talk because I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I wish you could hear the stuff we talked about off air because it is. I think the term is ribald. That's what fancy people say.
We talked about girls. If you ain't thinking about girls, your mind's wandering.
Larry Gatlin coming up. Larry Gatlin's our guest. With just, I don't know what you call it, elegant prose. You're a wordsmith. Your ability. I mean,
bovine dropping.
Is
buddy.
that what?
We can't say that other word. It's bovine dropping.
No, we can't. How do we get more people in the with audiences, with bully pulpits, to step up and speak out about what's going on in this country?
All right, let me explain how I do this. First of all, Sir Edmund Burke said, the only thing needed for tyranny to exist is for good men to do nothing. I am not going to do nothing. This government, I've written a song called I Love My Country, It's My Government I Can't Stand. You know, that's the problem. Let me tell you about the entertainment business. Folks, out there in Radio Land, you come hear the Gatlin Brothers, let me tell you what you're going to hear. Houston, all the go, she's a broken, I just wish you were someone, I don't want to cry. We're going to sing those songs that you nice people have heard on the radio, and you are not going to get political bovine droppings. Now, one little deal I do, I say, Brother Steve, he said something, he said, I don't want to lie. I said, well, you lie all the time. He said, I don't lie. I said, you're a good liar. I said, you ought to run for Congress. Everybody loves it. I said, now, folks, we don't do politics in our show. I said, what little we do, we pick on both sides. And I said, here's how we do it. Don't tell my mother I'm in the Congress, that I'm a member of the House Ways and Means. My saintly mother thinks I play piano in a whorehouse in New Orleans. I just say in a bordello in New Orleans.
Right.
They can bleep that if they need to. You're not going to hear politics when you pay your $30 or $40 or whatever it is.
Is that what it costs?
I don't know what it costs. I'm the guy.
I can't afford that in this economy.
Well, okay, I'll give you a backstage pass.
All right, thank you.
What I'm saying, folks, you do not pay for that. We don't do religion. Now we sing some some songs that I wrote, and every now and then we'll sing some hymns if people do. And basically, that's what our demographic of people want to hear. Folks, you're not going to be inundated. You're not going to do it. What little we do is tongue in cheek. You don't come for that. You don't come for that. You come to hear the Gatlin Brothers. Now, if I'm doing Fox News, or I'm doing a political event, and people have come. You bet.
Have you been surprised how much people appreciate hearing your political opinions?
Michael, every night at the autograph table, we're back there signing autographs and signing our little CDs and pictures and stuff. You cannot believe it. It's every other person says, keep going on Fox News. I went into a little beer joint, the Heartbreakers Bar and Grill, to get a steak. I don't drink anymore, thank God. People say, why'd you quit drinking? I say, I got tired of puking on people I didn't know.
I still drink. Is that all right?
That's all right. I just
Okay,
don't puke on them.
Yeah.
So I went in there, and I'm eating this big, beautiful steak. Got some cheese.
We do a little thing we call food porn. How many ounces are we talking about?
Well,
this
this was just a little 10-ounce filet.
with some butter on top.
It had that garlic butter stuff
Oh,
on top
I love
of it.
that. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's better than bad sex, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And so I started eating it, and I noticed this little girl sitting over, and I started flirting with her. She's about 4 years old. And her grandfather looked at me and said, Mr. Gatlin, I said, I'm just Larry. My daddy's Mr. He said, I sure have enjoyed you on Fox. Said, keep doing it. Said, we need you out here in the heartland. I said, yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that. He said, I feel hopeless. Michael, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
He felt hopeless. So I wrote an op-ed for FoxNews.com, hopeless in the heartland. He looked at me. He said, what are we going to do? How are we going to take our country back? And I spewed off some conservative Republican, bullet points. Well, we got to get behind good candidates, and all that. And he looked at me. He said, I did that. And I thought, oh my God, this is the guy. His family.
Right.
He's sitting there eating a pizza in this little beer joint with his granddaughter and his wife and his daughter. She's a nurse and he's a carpenter, and they've got people, robbing him blind.
Right.
And he feels helpless. So I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to do nothing.
I say we're not having a political war. We're having a cultural war.
It's cultural warfare.
And what I tell people is you're going to have to get involved earlier in life, because people have this, I call political correctness, militant liberalism.
It's absolutely militant.
And what it really is people are sitting quiet because they don't want to hurt their career. They don't want to offend a potential client. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. And they're thinking, well, when I get older, I'll talk. You talk to an older person, they realize you don't have any influence anymore. You get too old, you can't do anything about it. You got to do it when you still have a pulpit. You're outperforming. You're on Fox News. The day you leave all that, your influence drops. So it's critical you do it now.
That's right. Well, I find the proper place to do it. Like I say, out there, I'm an entertainer first, and I hold that very. Some people don't do that. They do it a different way. But I really believe that I think Barbra Streisand is one of the greatest female vocalist, pop vocalist of all time. Now some of our country girls are great country, Patsy Cline, Dottie West, Dolly Parton, you name them, Reba, whatever. But if I went to a Barbra Streisand concert and she started telling me about Barack Obama, it would be all I could do to sit in there about pictures like the corners. I'd feel very uncomfortable. That's not what I paid for. I want to hear people, So I wrote an op-ed, another one for them, for FoxNews.com, and I called it, I said, who will have the cojones, the Buckleys.
The Stones.
Who will have the Buckleys after William to stand up like he did when he, started the National Review and say, this magazine will stand athwart the tide of history yelling stop. I'm going to do that. The way I say that, for what? For what would we risk our life, our possessions, and our sacred honor like our founding fathers did? They talk about fairness. Let me tell you, I'll do this. You've got about 4 minutes. Here's my deal. Obamacare, all he has to do is rescind that executive order that he gave Stupak, the big Stupak sellout. That bill wasn't going to pass without Stupak and his other 11 guys, the moderate conservative Democrats who were pro-life. It wasn't going to pass without their 12 votes. And President Barack Obama signed an executive order to Bart Stupak, that the Hyde Amendment would stay in effect. I'm getting in the weeds, folks. I don't mean what it meant was, basically the shortcut is that there would never be public funding for abortion. All he has to do is rescind it. All the next president has to do is rescind it. And your money and my money is going to be used to stop a beating heart. When they do that, I'm not going to pay them my taxes anymore. They can come drag me out of my house, and I want them to explain to Parker and Campbell Spencer, my granddaughters, why we're taking Papa to jail. And if they don't explain it, I'm going to say, kids, my beautiful babies, they're doing this to your Papa because he doesn't want to use his money to stop a beating heart in a mother's womb.